We are back, and it's time for the weekend review. Today we're starting with Nasdaq NQ futures. And this thing has just been up, and away, as we all know. One of the most hated rallies of all time, so I'm told. I've been having a pretty good time, but I will tell you this, it does get difficult to buy when all they do is go up. The support is getting so thin up here, but we still have no reason to believe that this thing's going to come down. We got every indication that it's going to continue to go up for another year or so. So, that doesn't mean they're going to go up in a straight line, but we still have some major support to buy. Now, I will say this, there is only one or two areas of major support to buy in our general vicinity, and then we could actually get a pullback. But let's cover those areas right now. So first and foremost, as usual, we start with the weekly TPO just to see where we're at in value. I actually put the daily TPO up here alongside of it. But one of the things that I wanted to point out to you guys is first and foremost, we have closed all the way at the top of value, almost all of the all-time highs. Again, we closed Friday. Pretty ridiculously strong close. This is a double distribution, as you can tell, and they defended this on Friday. We pulled back and then they went up higher. So this is a very key area here. We've got some singles in the weekly profile here, and it just represents low volume. So once they break into this spot here, we will traverse all the way in and start to fill this up, okay? And when they do, it'll be fairly quick because there's no support here, which we'll soon see on the candlesticks once we get to that. We do have a really nice big weekly TPO here at 24,524, and it lines up with some real significant levels that we have as well. That includes a daily level and a 4-hour level, which we'll talk about when we get into the candlesticks. The other thing that really pointed out to me, or that I noticed to me, was the 24,415 weekly TPO right here, where the blocks are stacked. That really stood out to me big time. And what was interesting is there's a naked POC on the daily right here, same spot you can see, and we also have a 4-hour level right below that at 24,389.75, which again I'll show you when we get to the candlestick chart. So just wanted to show you how this stuff is kind of lining up here. If we move through here, this low volume area, which is right here on the daily, we will push through and then down in here to this weekly TPO at least. And it is possible that we could push into this lower segment here, but there is a lot of strength in here. I would really like to buy this potential area. Now, if we get below this 24,415.75, if they punch through this area, which is essentially the 4-hour leg up at 24,389.75, they will spill off and come down into our lower areas, which we'll soon go over. There's just not any support here for quite some time. So, as you can see, we've got this huge area down here that is all on the daily profile. This is all an inefficient market that needs cleaned up all the way down to 24,259. Definitely possible, as this is still all within last week's value. Okay, value area high, value area low, which would put us outside of last week, which is very possible if you look at this. We've gapped up anyway. And so, plus with rollover, that is over with. We had a huge options expiration on Friday. That is also over with. So now that we've talked about the value perspective, let's get into the candlesticks. So as usual, you guys know I like my high time frames. We got our weekly RTH over here, regular trading hours, daily trading hours, and daily ETH. This is the all-night session. This runs basically 23 hours, 5 days a week. So I like to see kind of where things are at in the morning when the cash session isn't completely cruising yet. So with that being said, here is our daily leg up right here, 24,507.50. If you recall, I said we have a daily leg by this weekly TPO right here at 24,524. Big confluence, and that would also take us through this low volume area right into this spot here. Okay, so let's not forget that that's there. All right, big spot. We want to keep that in mind. But before that, and it is tested, but we are going to keep an eye on 24,588.25. This is going to be our pivot for up and down. Even coming off of this daily at 24,507.50, we want to get back above 24,588 to continue to make new highs. We're going to use this as our above below on the daily time frame. Going to be very, very important for us. If we come off of this daily leg at 507, we need the continuation there. and it could potentially make new all-time highs. Now, that's based on the chart as I'm looking at it now, so we'll see what happens when that actually happens, and we'll talk more about it in the plans, but that is the way it looks as of right now currently. Now, if we do not hold this 24,507, and recall, we know that there's a 4-hour leg at 24,389.75. But just from a daily perspective, if we close the daily underneath here at 24,507, we can come all the way down to 24,044.50 from a daily time frame. This is the leg down from August 12th, and this is a big boy, and it is untested. Also, if you'll notice here, and by the time we get over there, we have the 20-day moving average creeping up on us, and monthly VWAP is coming up here right now. It also looks like the previous weekly monthly value area high is extremely close to this. And so we've got a lot of confluence here at the 24,044.50, and I would be looking for that to be good support for us on first touch. Now, with that being said, looking lower, it looks pretty grim, I have to be frank. So if they close the daily underneath 24,044.50, we do not have anything untested on the daily time frame until we get all the way down here into 23,125. So it is super duper thin. I mean, that's what I kept saying, that as we've walked up here, they continue to back test things on this move up, and so they've kind of wiped almost everything except for this 24,044.50, which we know was a huge level for us to get above before. So this is obviously a very key level for us to keep in mind. You can even see how it played right here from the top down for a pretty nice, or from the bottom up for a pretty nice smack. So I would be looking for that to play. But again, if we get underneath that, we have a big weekly pivot at 23,809, as you can see right here. Okay, so if we get underneath this 24,044.50, we get underneath here, and then we have to contend with this weekly daily at 8. So the weekly is at 23,809, daily is at 23,760. We push lower. Here's the 50-day moving average. Now we do have a weekly down here at 23,479. Now there is a 4-hour level located exactly here as well. I marked this on the daily so that you could see if they play this and get back above 23,505, this could trigger a nice little failed breakdown squeeze. We want to see us get back above 23,577, and ultimately you'd have to take a lot of targets right here at 23,760 and 23,809. I think you'd have a hard time getting back over that, but you never know. And ultimately, like I said, the real untested support is at 23,100. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out just a hair so you can see here. The last untested level we have in this segment is 22,892.25. It is a weekly level as well. So this is still the true weekly leg up. It would take, that's a far way down from where we're at. We're talking about almost 3,000 points, no, 2,000 points. But again, as long as they hold that level, we're still bullish on the weekly time frame, no question about it. And as long as we hold this daily leg here at 23,100, we've continued to hold this leg here. Okay, so this is this level up here, this 24,507.50. This is a massive spot. We really need to hold this for our immediate continuation higher. And if they fail and come down, 24,044.50 needs to hold, because anything below that is a super sign of weakness to bring us down into these lower levels. So that's how we're going to look at the daily time frame. Now let's go ahead and get into the 4-hour so we can see what's up over here. So just looking at the 4-hour, I went ahead and took off all the other lines just so you guys could see where my supports were for the 4-hour here. And it is pretty slim for untested, as you can see. This is, it's interesting, I got to tell you, because right now we have this upside pivot here at 24,690, and that's a big area for us to get above or below on the 4-hour time frame. So let's just walk this up here. So if we get below 24,690, we more than likely push down into the 24,513. And if you recall, the 24,513 is also our daily level at 507. Okay, so we had that daily 4-hour confluence right there. I like this level a lot. Other than that, we have a 4-hour, 1-hour level at 24,389.75. This is the last untested 4-hour in this leg end. And I do expect this area is to hold. I really do. I mean, unless we have some sort of news flash where there's no reason why these levels shouldn't hold. So we'll see how it plays out. But again, you never know. And if we get a 4-hour close underneath the 24,389.75, we could come down quite significantly. Okay. And with that being said, let's just back up and I'll show you. So we had, let's not forget, we have this daily level at 24,044.50. It's pretty clear with that daily level there that we can play that and we could really hide right underneath this area here for a stop out, which would give us about a 40-point stop, but for the risk to reward on this trade, it's pretty massive. So other than that though, let's go back to the 4 hours so we can take a look. There isn't any untested 4-hour levels until we get to the 23,484.75. Now, if you recall, I talked about this level with that weekly. I'm going to put this back on. So we had that weekly at 23,479, and we had the 4-hour at 23,484.75, and then we have that swing low at 505. So I do believe that if price comes down, they could catch into this area and get back above 505, and that would be our trigger for the long. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hide these levels again, and we'll get back into this once we talk about our 4-hour. And then that is it until we get all the way down to the leg end, which essentially lines up with the daily leg like we talked about in the daily time frame. Our last untested 4-hour at the lows is 23,234. And I'm going to go ahead and throw these back on just so you can see. Oh, here you go. So we actually, this daily down here is tested. Wow. Okay, I didn't even catch that. So that is looking pretty grim there. So, I'm not saying something else won't hold, but from a daily perspective, we really need this 24,044.50 to hold, or even the 24,479. This is going to be a big spot for us. And that's really it, for that 4 hours there. So you got only 2 untested supports underneath the 24,004.50. Sorry, Nasdaq's so high up there, like it's like a mouthful trying to say this sometimes. So that's it. That's what we got for the 4 hour. And I'm going to throw these back on so you guys can see. So let's just talk about this one more time, and then we'll call it a day, or we'll go to the 1 hour real quick and call it a day. So here is this same 4 hour, 24,690. We move under that. Our big pivot is 24,588. We have this big area right here, this daily leg up, 24,507, and a 4 hour at 24,513. We really want that to hold, get back above 533.75, and then get back above 24,588 for our progression higher. And then of course, then we got to get back above 690 again. Okay, a move below this brings us into that big weekly TPO stack blocks, our naked POC, and then the 4 hour leg at 24,389. Okay, and I just wanted to show you guys the confluence when everything is laid over. Then we know with the daily at 24,044.50, we talked about that, and the stop below. Also, something I just saw right here, 9.7 value area high is at basically 24,000. So this is a big spot for us. We have a lot of confluence here, a lot of reasons to hide underneath this area and try to let this play out. Okay, and then again, like I said, there's really truly nothing untested until we either get down here to this 23,484 or even the lowest leg in at 23,234. But I would be very cautious about this. We needed to get it back above 23,316 if they play the 23,234 for a move higher. And then they're just going to struggle to get back up. We just got to have to make sure they continue to gain levels on the way up. Okay? So I will bring over the 1 hour chart real fast just so we can look at it from where we're at in our current perspective and let it go at that. So here we go. We have a massive wing play here. I like this trade a lot, and they could even bring it down into here. But you can really see the relevance here underneath the 24,690. We've got this big, low volume area that I pointed out. I don't know if you can see this brown box. So this is that low volume area. It would just skim right down into our pivot and potentially below our pivot. Okay, so I think that's it. I mean, we got a little minor support here at 24,763.50 on a 1 hour that I do not like. I mean, we're this high up. I need to wait for somewhat of a decent pullback before I get long. So with that being said, I hope this helps you guys out, and I will see you guys when I do the weekend review for the S&P. Cheers. Have a great weekend.